And the deck lists just keep coming. I'm BakuBrad96, and I have yet again another Bakugan Geogan Rising deck profile and review for everyone today. I recently unboxed Aquos Behemos, so you all know me, I had to make a deck around it. And what better factions than my favorite, Darkus, and of course Pyrus. So the reason I chose these factions were I wanted a well-balanced team, and using the orange shields, I kind of used a B-power pump that helps all three of these factions, but I'll get onto that when we review the cores. So enough of that, let's just jump straight into it, because I really think this deck is a good one, and I'm curious as to what you will all think. So I definitely want to get the review out there. I think this one's probably one of the more competitive ones I've built, but I'm not a very good judge of that. I will let you all decide. So starting off, of course, it is Aquos Behemos. We have a double Flaming Fist, B power of 800 and 1 damage. Won't talk much about him because I did unbox him recently. And we'll go ahead and show off the figure right quick. Here he is, of course. So we have Aquos Behemos. Next up, I am using Darkus Finnica, making use of those Flaming Fists. We have an Orange Shield and a Flaming Fist core, B power of 300, 5 damage, and if he lands on a Flaming Fist, he's going to get an extra plus 500 B power. Sorry, so that's kind of the whole reasoning behind there, and why he's on the team, just synergy with the Flaming Fists. And then for synergy with those orange shields, we are running the Pyrus Jetra. Shout out to Jet Kusa, this is his Bakugan. But double orange shield, B power of 500, 4 damage, and if he lands on an orange shield, he is going to get an extra plus 400 on that. So we'll go ahead and take a look at him. Here is Darkus Finnica. Just toss Behemos aside right there. And then we do have, of course, Pyrus Jetra. So that there's our team lineup. Now for the core. Pretty interesting, but very nice. You know, these three factions go well together, being at least as far as the cores are concerned. So I have an Aquos and Darkus get plus 400 B power. A Pyrus and Darkus get plus 400 B power. And then to round it all up, we do have the Aquos Pyrus plus 400 B power. So really great synergy, you know, all three of these work well, and the 3 orange shields, you get all 3 slots. It's just really good. And then for the Flaming Fist, you know, you have to run the plus 250 B power and plus 3 damage. But, you know, thinking about the low damage count on these Bakugan, well, not so much Jetra and Finnica, because I believe 4 and 5 respectively is okay. But Behemos does only have the 1 damage, so plus 6 on the final Flaming Fist core, just to kind of make that a little better. But that's it for the core lineup. Now on to the deck profile. So this time around, I will start off with the Geogan, because they do have a cute little gimmick with this deck, being as they are all 1 energy. And yes, you guessed it, that is the Aquos Mutasect I unboxed along with the Behemos. So had to put them in the same deck together. But moving on, we do have Pyrus Arcleon, 1 energy for B power of 900, 2 damage, and then double strike. So not the best, but the double strike does come in handy, and it's pretty cool. Again, you know, just the 1 energy cost being the big thing there. We do have the Hyenix, 1 energy for a B power of 1300 and 4 damage with built-in Shadow Strike. I've talked about it probably a dozen times, and I probably use this Darkus Geogan more than anything because of how good it really is. After that though, for the final Geogan is Aquos Mutasect, 1 energy for a B power of 1400 and 1 damage. Just killer B power for 1 energy. Definitely get a win in if that's a turn 1 play. And what's a Geogan profile, or deck profile, without showing the Geogan? So here's Aquos Mutasect. Darkus Hyenix, and why not? Let's, well, if I can, let's flip out those arms. And there we go. Darkus Hyenix. Jeez, I'm knocking them all over. That's horrible, horrible. And finally, Pyrus Arcleon. Now with the team and Geogan out of the way, it is that time again for the deck profile. Starting off, you all know it, you all love it. Well, I hope you all love it because I love it. It is Body Crusher, 1 energy for -4 damage, and you do get to scan. Once again, another card you'll see often in my deck profiles, it is Deep Dive, 1 energy to draw 1, and you may reroll your Bakugan. I just find that reroll to be very good, and you can't pass it up. Following that is 2 Neleus Annihilator, 1 energy for plus 300 B power. But if a scan or scrounge effect allows you to look at this card at the top of the deck, you can reveal it to give a Bakugan plus 600. So this deck doesn't necessarily scan like my Darkus Ventus one does, but the one for 300 I thought might come up, so I wanted to include it. Leaning more on the damage side though, this deck does have Ray of Pyrus, 1 energy for plus 3. It does have the Stoke, so when you play it you can pay an additional 2 to gain its effect a second time. Making this a pseudo 3 for 6 damage, and at the same time a 1 for 3, which is why 2 of this is pretty good. But you always have to bump up the B power at some point, so 2 Chomping Tornado, 2 energy for plus 500 B power. Full circle back to damage thinking is 2 Hero Lightnings. Really like this hero card, and it's a dog. Love the dog. 2 energy. When you open a Bakugan, it gets plus 3 damage, and that just stays, so that's very nice. Every roll, as long as you open, you're going to get it, and heroes don't go away. They stay on the field, so definitely worth looking into. Pyrus Spike, 2 energy for plus 4 damage, and then you get to draw, then discard a card. So just kind of drawing through the deck, but also a lot of damage. And then Throw Anything, 2 energy for not only 400 B power, but you do get Shadow Strike, which comes in handy practically every match you're going to be in, because not being able to have your B power and damage reduced is a huge bonus. But we do have Flip Strike, 3 energy for plus 700 B power. Just a good vanilla buff card. Back to damage and drawing, we have Improvised Armor, 3 energy to draw 2 and 2 damage. Well, I said that backwards. Plus 2 damage, and then you get to draw 2. After that is Pyrus Spark, 3 energy for plus 300 B power and Double Strike. So it kind of works in tandem with the Arc Line. With all the ways to add up the damage in the deck, Double Strike wouldn't hurt. But again, you're looking at later on in the game because you'll need the 3 energy plus whatever you're pairing it with, which is okay. This deck definitely has the potential to last longer than some, but it is something to keep in mind when you're setting up. 2 Trailing Dragon, 3 energy for plus 200 B power and plus 4 damage. And then it does have the, if you energize this from your hand, you can pay 2 to draw 1. It will never come up in this deck, I promise you. You just want that 4 and the 2. And geez, do I wish I had 2 more of these, that being Mac. 4 energy for a hero, and the turn you play this, the victor is decided by highest damage instead of B power, but it also gives your Bakugan plus 2. And again, it's a hero, so it stays around on the field. Very nice. I would run 3 of these if you could, because it is kind of sort of a damage deck, but not really. You do have quite a few 2-cost cards, so why not make use of one of my favorites, Monstrous Surge, 4 energy for plus 800 B power, but it has the Sync effect or ability. You may reveal a card in your hand that costs 2 energy for plus 4. So it's a 4 for plus 8 and plus 4 as long as you have a 2 energy cost in hand, which with all the ones you run, you probably will. Really nice card. Speaking of really nice cards though, this is Pyrus Overload. I have 2 of them in here. 4 energy for plus 500 B power, and remove all Bakucores attached to a Bakugan and place them onto the field. So really good defensive card if your flips don't work for you. Really cool. And because it came with the unboxing video yesterday, I did include the Aquos Lightning Rain. 5 energy for plus 700 B power, you get a scan and then draw 1. So just to test things out, probably would add 2 if I had another one. And then, just because this deck does have a few heroes, I wanted to go ahead and throw in Shun. So 5 energy and your Bakugan have plus 200 B power. On to the flips, I run Aquos Speed, 1 energy to block a Darkus or Ventus. Crescent Darkus Nullifier, 1 energy to block a Aquos or Pyrus. Fluid Form, 1 energy to block a Aquos or Fusion. Pyro Stopper Slam, 1 energy to block a Pyrus or Fusion Bakugan. Swift Flame, 1 energy to block a Darkus or Heas Bakugan. And finally, for this deck profile, to wrap things up, we do have a Weapons of Darkus, 1 energy to block a Darkus or Fusion Bakugan. So everyone, thank you all for watching. As always, it has been amazing making another deck profile for everyone to enjoy, and I hope you all did enjoy watching it, because this is why I'm doing it, to make Bakugan content that everyone will enjoy. But on that note, 90% of you watching are not subscribed, and I really, 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 like from the bottom of my heart, want to change that. So you know what? Hit that subscribe button. I promise you will not be disappointed, because my channel does have monthly raffles, unboxings, deck lists. I do want to work out brawls eventually, so there are things in the works, but right now it is what it is. And I am working on everything, starting this channel from the ground up. There's certainly room for improvement. I know that. I can admit that. But definitely the support I have from the Bakugan community already is amazing. As of recording, I think we're at 254 subscribers. That's 254 Bakucrew members. That is unbelievable. Thank you all so, so much. And, just thank you. Have an awesome day or night, depending on when you're watching this. And remember, my fellow Bakucrew, Bakugan Brawl.